Okay, today we're back working on the buggy. I am going to get rid of this Amazon carburetor, and I'm also going to, don't be a pain in the ass, but I'm going to replace these boots. I had a towel under here since it's been here, but it doesn't look like it's really been leaking. So what's there was there before, so I don't know. But anyway, I suspect something because something's leaking, so I do have new boots I'm going to put on there. Like, I don't know how big of a pain in the ass it's going to be, but we're just going to do it. The only oil I had on the floor, this the bottom gasket on here, it's got a few little drips there, so that's leaking just slightly, but just normal VW stuff. So anyway, we'll get this carburetor off, and what I'm replacing it with is I got my order here, JBugs. So I got a nice 1988 sticker. The reason I run the 88 on the buggy is because you're a graduated high school. And so it's kind of cool that that's when they were established too. So somewhere I'll find a place on the buggy for the sticker. But I got my new boots and hose clamps. Got the carburetor in there, and to get free shipping, I won't need it now, but I got a beanie for when winter comes, so I'll have my JBugs to keep me warm. So anyway, I'll pull this carburetor out. I'll try to do it now, but I'll do it in a minute. It's going to take two hands, but I'll show you that carburetor. It looks like it's better quality even just by visually looking at it. But we'll get it out and look at it, and then we'll get replacing things. Okay, one thing I can tell you right out of the box, it is a much heavier carburetor, which is probably a good thing, which means it's probably much stronger, hopefully. So anyway, that's what it looks like. It basically looks exactly the same. The Amazon was more shiny, probably just a different metal, so that could be the difference in weight. But anyway, we'll get it off. Like I say, it's basically just a VW carburetor. But like I say, it feels better right out of the box. So we'll get this on and hopefully fix all the other problems, and we'll have a good, reliable engine. This is also a good opportunity for me to find out if I packed the right tools, because I'm going to work from the tools that I had that I took with me, the stash. So I'll find out what I'm missing and what I need. So it's a good opportunity to update this, so I end up with the right tool bag to throw in here to go along when I'm on the road. So okay, Volkswagen engines are simple to work on, but they know how to be a pain in the ass to get the bolts and stuff. But I think I can see the problem right here. There's an extra step in that. Either it was manufactured that way, or when they were installing it, it crushed it and made an extra lip on it. So I think that's what was causing maybe a vacuum leak. That's definitely where it was leaking. But doesn't look like there's any fluid or anything inside of her, so it looks clean. I was afraid it was going to be full of fluid, but it's supposed to be like that, just nice and smooth all the way around after the step. Like I say, this one you see there's like a double step right there, which it shouldn't be. And this one's probably your thing. It's fairly hard too, and these are a lot more pliable, so I think these will work better. I just went with red because it looked good, but it's definitely harder, so I think going with a new one will be much better. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, I got the new boot on. It went nice and tight. I like these hose clamps too. They got a 6mm bolt on them, so they're a little easier. So this side's good. I put a new gasket under the manifold, so that's good. So hopefully whatever this leak is here, hopefully that'll be resolved. And like I say, I think it was that little extra crease in that boot that was causing that, so hopefully that's a problem. And just so it's not too much of a pain in the ass, I'm going to leave this side. It doesn't seem to be leaking. It seems to be installed properly there. Hopefully I don't regret that later, but I'm just going to leave it for now. So we'll go ahead and start putting everything back together, get the carburetor on it, and get it running. And if it's running good, I may still put the timing light on it and check the timing, but let's get the carburetor on it first and see what happens. Okay, it started right up. I think I have it adjusted. I'm going to let it cool back down and see. I worked on it. Definitely running better than the old one, seems to be. So I'm going to let it cool. I want to take off the valve cover and check the valves. Sounds like there might be a noise in there. I'm not sure, but I want to check it before I run it too much further. But seems to be okay. Not cutting out. We'll see. After I check the valves, I'll check the timing. Timing seems good, but I might check it anyway. But I will check those valves before I do anything else. One thing I noticed that was coming loose, these panels, these nuts that I put, or the bolts that I put in these panels, some of these are starting to come loose, which is okay, because this is where I decided to put the JBug sticker. I got a couple places for more sponsors back here, so that's the new home of the JBug sticker. And I need to tighten these. These are coming completely loose, so I'm going to put some Loctite on there and tighten those down so those don't fall off. But I'll let it cool, then we'll look at the valves, and then we'll take it for another ride. Okay, I checked and adjusted the timing. It was pretty close, but I adjusted it a little bit, so it's where it should be. The valves were off a little bit. 3 of them were pretty far out. So I adjusted that. So I've got the valves adjusted. They still need a little more adjustment, but they're way out, basically. So I think I got that taken care of for now. So now it's just time to start driving it again, see what happens. After it cooled down, it started right up and out of good with the carburetor. So seems to be good. I'm going to drive it and see if it cuts out or does anything, but seems to be pretty good now, so we'll see. Okay, we're back on the buggy, working on the buggy, trying to sort out some steering issues. Tomorrow is the first big car show of the year, so I'm going to take it to that. It would be drivable to take it there, but I'm still having some front issues here. I'm having a little bit of bump steer. And I talked to several people this week, and I think the issue, probably the first thing I'm going to do, to have more clearance here for the travel, I moved this to the bottom of the steering arm. I think that's probably not a problem, so the first thing I'm going to do is move this to the top and see if that corrects the issue. As it goes through the travel, it's getting bump steer quite a bit in the higher range. The low range, it's fine. It's probably 80% drivable, and it doesn't pull, doesn't do anything. But if you hit a lot of bumps and you start doing stuff, it gets a little squirrely. So hopefully we can do this. I've talked to some other issues. You can move the box a little bit in and out. You can change the angle a little bit. It's supposed to help, but I think it's just something that with the VW front end and our center rack and pinion, it's just something you just have to work through. So like I say, the simplest thing is to move this to the top, which will cut my clearance down a little bit. So I'll deal with that for right now if it takes care of the bump steer, because I'd rather have no bump steer than have a travel issue. So anyway, let's get this pulled off. And unfortunately, I have to pull the brake caliper off. Not that big of a deal, but I got to pull the brakes off to get this bolt out on the bottom. So I'm going to do that I'm going to pull this out, switch that. I'll realign the front end and see if that takes care of the issue. If not, then we'll start looking at moving the steering box and things like that. So let's get started. Okay, that was easy. All I had to do is move the caliper, which is just 2 Allen bolts pulled out. It's easy to flip that right to the top. So that's easy. That's the simplest solution, but I don't know if it's going to solve the problem. But I'll put it all back together and see what happens, and hopefully, cross our fingers, it'll solve the problem or make it better. But if not, we can always mess with the rack and kind of problem shoot it. But okay, I got everything back together. I did another front end alignment with this. It's the driveway front end alignment. There is still bump steer, but it's not as bad, so it is improved. But I haven't driven it yet, so I know just based on the measurement, it's just not moving as much as it was. So it has been improved, but it's still not totally fixed. But it should be drivable. So I'm probably not going to work on it too much more today, because I do want to take it to the show. But I'm going to look at adjusting my steering box in and out, front and back a little bit with spacers. Kind of just get that in my head and see where that'll change the angles, the pivots, and try to work on that. But I will drive it and see how it is. But I think it will be better than it was. But the other thing I'm going to do before I warm the motor up, I have my rear valve covers. I adjusted the valves on this earlier last week, and when I put the valve covers back on, they are leaking like crazy. There's a kind of a spot right there. Not real bad. I mean, it's pretty bad, so I'm going to fix it. So the other side's leaking as well. So I think I have new cork gaskets for those. I'm going to look now. If not, I've got some sealant. I'll put some sealant on there and see if that'll fix it for now. But anyway, I'll do that before I start it up, and then should be ready for the show, I think, at that point. So okay, lucky for me, I do have 2 valve cover gaskets. Looks like they're 2 different brands, because the cork is a little closer together on the other one. Color's a little different, but they're the same thickness. They will work just fine. So I'll get the valve covers pulled. I'll put a little sealant on these to stick them on there, and then we'll get them changed, and we'll take a test drive. Okay, I just got back from taking it for a test drive. The front end alignment is now good, at least for the street. I have no bump steer issues at all. I've driven it where I had been driving it and I had some issues. I have no issues now. It tracks nice and straight. It is on full extension up and down, though. There is some bump steer on the extreme top and lower, but as far as driving it on the streets, it's 100% fine now. It's nice and comfortable, and it steers great, so I feel real good with it. I got the the valve covers back on. I won't know if they're leaking until in the morning, but anyway, I kind of cleaned it up a little bit, just wiped it down. I didn't really wash it or anything, just wipe it down. I'm not really kind of a guy, I'm not going to keep it real clean all the time, but since I just freshly built it, I'm going to take it to some shows here in the first of the summer, and just still trying to break it in, mostly just be on the streets for a while. But it seems all good, so I'll get it out in the morning and we'll head to the first car show.